Good morning, class, or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you decide to do your lesson. It's me, Mr. Bryson, and I've made this video to expand on the video that I asked you to watch yesterday. During my conference period, I asked the student, what is a rhetorical situation? And he correctly responded, well, it's the author, the audience, the genre, and then the context and the purpose. And that is correct. Those are the 5 parts of a rhetorical situation. But I want to talk about what is a rhetorical situation. Okay, and if you look in the dictionary, actually, you'll get lots of different definitions. Another one would be using power and language to persuade, inform, and inspire. That's also a good definition. And then they usually show an image of Martin Luther King or something. But I want to simplify the definition in a way that you can understand. Okay, a rhetorical situation to me is any attempt to communicate. It's that simple. So you wave hi to somebody, you've just established a rhetorical situation. Is a sneeze? Well, maybe not a sneeze. If you sneeze on purpose, that's a rhetorical situation. What I'm doing right now is a rhetorical situation. I'll even make it easier than this. Okay, this is what I want you to think of when you think of rhetorical situation. You ready? I want you to think of a stop sign. A stop sign is a rhetorical situation. It is an attempt to communicate, and it has all 5 parts that you learned about yesterday. Let's examine. Okay, a stop sign has a sender. Who put the stop sign up there? Probably the city government decided that at an intersection somewhere in your neighborhood, a stop sign was necessary. Okay, who's the receiver or who's the audience? Who was the stop sign intended for? Like you might say, well, everybody, but that's not exactly true. People don't have to stop at a stop sign. It's probably a good idea if they're walking, to stop and look both ways. But really, the intended audience for a stop sign are people who are driving their vehicles. Okay, drivers. Like the stop sign is specifically to tell them, hey, stop at this point and look around before you proceed any further. Now the medium, that's pretty simple. That's the same as genre. The video yesterday used genre, but we're going to use, I like to use the word medium. And it's very simple. It is signage. It is a basically message that's usually short and brief and intended to tell people what to do impolitely. It doesn't say stop please, or would you please stop? It says stop. All right. The message is a little bit more involved than just stop. It's also saying there is a possibility of risk. Obviously, getting a ticket would not be worse than having an accident, but you guys are teenagers, and I know the man's trying to keep you down. But no, the message is be safe. Intersections and cars are very dangerous. Okay, what is the context in which the stop sign exists, or what is its exigence? Like maybe you're at an intersection that didn't used to have a stop sign, and 2 cars collided in the middle of the night because neither one stopped, and there was an accident and maybe even a fatality, which would be awful. So the city government decided, you know what? To avoid people from getting hurt, we need a stop sign here. So, unsafe intersection created a need to control traffic. And that's the context in which the stop sign exists for the public safety of everybody. All right, so there you go. A stop sign has all 5 parts of a rhetorical situation. That means it is a rhetorical situation. Okay, earlier this week I asked you to read Jonathan Swift's Modest Proposal, and guess what? It's a rhetorical situation. Jonathan Swift was the author or the sender. He was born in Ireland, which is one of the reasons why he cared about the poor people in Ireland. But he spent a lot of his life living in England, which is why he spent so much time talking to English people. He's also a known satirical writer and a known comedian. Like, he used to write things that were funny. All right. Receiver. He had a very specific audience when he wrote this. Originally, he wrote it as a pamphlet, and he distributed it to people outside of Parliament. He wanted English noblemen, the people who made the laws that were keeping Ireland repressed, and he wanted them to be the audience so that he could let them know so that they could affect some real change. He wrote it as an essay, but he printed it as a pamphlet so he could easily distribute it. And he did not put his name on it because he was already known for being a funny writer, and he did not want this to be taken as a joke at first. The message, y'all read the essay, and y'all seem to understand it pretty well. He's really saying that the English are not treating the Irish well, and they are suffering because of it. And if something's not done, the problem's going to get worse, and it's going to become very serious. In the context in which he wrote it, at the time, Ireland had already had a couple of crop failures. The Great Potato Famine that you might have heard about in history class had already happened, and the Irish people were suffering and they needed help. And this is Jonathan Swift's attempt to try to get them help. He saw them in a problem situation and he reached out to the English. So there we have the 5 parts of the rhetorical situation. Okay, when we start next week, we're going to be looking at a lot of nonfiction writing and we're going to be examining the rhetorical situation of each, and eventually it's going to be a project grade. You're going to find an article of nonfiction written by a British person, and you're going to analyze it for the 5 parts of rhetorical situation. So next week should be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I miss you guys. I wish we could be in the classroom having fun and learning together. But, we're in a situation where that can't occur. But luckily, thanks to technology and distance learning, I'm able to keep tabs with you guys. And just trying to get you to graduation, guys, and beyond. Let's go. Bye.